So good afternoon. For some of you, good morning. Just depends on where you are. We're excited to share our monthly webinar. We have some of our partners, some of the other SIGs that do really good work. And so we're today really focusing on just resources that you can share with families or kind of to build up services for the summer. So I'm going to start out just real quick with a few things. We are, of course, the Identification Recruitment Consortium. But one of the things that we offer are resources that recruiters can have kind of in their toolkit to be able to share. And so on our website, I'll go ahead and drop this in the chat box in case you're brand new to us. Let me see if I can do that. And that's for our website. When you get to our website, if you click on resources to share, I'm just going to talk about two resources today. One of them is our learning portal. And the way we're gonna share today, I'm gonna talk for just a little bit about some resources that IDRC has. Then Bill's gonna talk about some resources that he has, and Yasmin will be sharing also, and Tracy. So we're gonna each take a little bit of time, and in the end, we'll take general questions, but we will take questions as we can in the chat box. So if you have a specific question, we'll try to pay attention to those and see. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll, and you guys can see the results right there. Okay, so one thing that a lot of times happens when recruiters will go into the home is that the parents will, or the youth will share specific challenges that they're having. Maybe there's a high schooler that's really having a hard time in algebra, or maybe the mom has a third grader or a second grader that's really having a hard time with reading. So this portal that we have on our website is something that the recruiters can have in their hands, be able to share with families for a myriad of resources that exist. And so at the very top, you can change the language so that if you have a Spanish speaker, for example, you can share with the parent and let them be able to see this. Whatever language it is, you can see just the portal part. But inside this, it's going to take them to all different kinds of resources. So I'm just going to share just a few of them. For example, if you have a kindergarten to second grader, these are all resources. They're game-based that kids can actually get on and study and do work themselves. If you are a tutor, you could use some of these resources and be able to build tools around them. But the whole idea was designed around the idea that let's find websites that kids would enjoy learning at, because a lot of them have access to devices. And let's see if we can, put them all in a place that they can go. Maybe they need to learn to type. Maybe they're really having a hard time finding books to listen to or to read. And so we've got some digital libraries that they can listen to. And then one fun thing that we're doing with a partnership with IDEA. IDEA is the fiscal, it's actually IDRC's fiscal agent, also ISOC's. They have a grant with AT&T. And so we'll be talking about this a little bit later on, but we have a summer learning page on our website, and we're doing a project in partnership with them. And this summer, just so that you guys know that we have an opportunity for kids to be able to go online and read and listen to books. And there is a challenge that I think AT&T will be sharing a little bit later on that you can go in, and we've got information right here for this. So I'm just going to drop that in the chat box. So I can put that in the chat box here. So kids can read books, they can listen to books, and they can also create books below. We've got a couple sites through Storybird and through Storyjumper that if they make books, like it says here, students must log in the books they read this summer. So if they listen to some books here, and there's a Google form that they can log in any books that they've read. And the students that have read the most books will have a chance through the partnership program that they have to be able to win a tablet. Also, if they make books through Storyjumper or Storybird, they can also have a chance to win a tablet. So that's something that we have the portal, but we have some partners that have offered some resources through that. And so you'll hear a little bit more about that. But our portal basically just takes you to all of these different links and resources. And we have a full training video right here that you can click on and learn more about that. So the other thing that I wanted to share is something that's been around for forever. It seems like we have our English books. ISOCI also has resources related to this. One of the things that we have on the website, if you haven't used these, if you click on like the English in Minutes books, you can share this link with families and youth just through WhatsApp, and there's the opportunity that they can listen and they can download the books. And these are digital book readers that you can just use online, so they don't have to have PDF, and they can use any of these books. So that is something that we hope that all recruiters have in their, in their toolkit. They know about the books and the resources. You can print them off here. You can share just the audio files. So those are all something that we have here on IDRC. So I am going to turn the time over now to Bill so that he can share. I'm going to stop sharing, and so he can share the information that he has. And I'll go ahead and put the links of what I just shared with you in the chat box.
Thanks, Jessica. Let me share this. I'm Bill Bansberg with the Migrant Parent Empowerment Consortium. What I'm going to talk about today is the resources on the Migrant Literacy Net, which were designed. They're designed for around MEP staff and teachers. Everything must be initiated by MEP staff and teachers. So, and I'll go through this very quickly, but if you want more information, there's information at the end. You can find the Migrant Literacy Net at migrantliteracynet.com. Everything on there is free. There's no cost. So, and what you would want to do if you're using, we have a lot of states that actually use the Migrant Literacy Net to help in their summer programs. And so to do that, you have 3 portals: student access, teacher access, and parent access. But for planning a summer program, you'd want to click on teacher access. You can create your own username and password. And when you do, as a teacher, you actually section off a part of the Migrant Literacy Net that's yours. So anything you assign to students, it will be listed on there. Nobody else can see it but you. The system is highly secure, and so we set it up so that even I can't look at whatever you do with your kids is something that is set up just so you can use it and you can see it. So you create your own username and passwords if you want to use the system. And I would encourage people who haven't used the Migrant Literacy Net to go ahead and do that and just try it out. All of the resources on the Migrant Literacy Net are first of all based in standards. They're based on the kind of a partnership of standards of the Common Core standards, as well as standards developed by the National Reading Panel and the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics. Also, everything on the Migrant Literacy Net is based in best practice and research, and everything has been field tested in the partner states. So all of the resources on there are based in best practice, and they're also field tested. So you've got a lot of good quality materials that you can use as you want to. For teachers, if you go online, if you go into the system, username and password, you'll come to the teacher homepage, which will be changing real soon. We're redesigning the look of the system, so you'll see a new look. But right now it looks like this. The first thing you'll find for teacher resources is there are almost 300 lesson plans that you could use, that people do use during summer programs, to teach anything from reading, writing, math, even there's life skills lessons for OSY kids, etc. So there's a lot of lessons on there that you can use. Everything on there is public domain. So you can take that material and use it however you want and don't have any issues related to copyright. So those are lessons for teachers. All of the lessons include everything you would want. It lays out the lesson, talks about how long they would take, it provides all the materials you would need. So those are things that you can look through as a teacher. You can search for lessons, or you can just look at a list, and you can search based on what you want to teach, and you pull lessons out that way. So there's a lot of lessons on the Migrant Literacy that you can use during a summer program. The second thing that I want you to be folks to be aware of is that there's a whole section on the Migrant Literacy Net of screeners. The screeners will identify kids' needs in reading and math. So if you're doing a summer program, these screeners are really quick. They don't take long to do, and then all of the screeners are in English as well as Spanish, and they will identify missing student skills in both reading and math, and they will automatically assign online tutorials to kids, instructional tutorials. The screeners are not an assessment of performance. They're all based in the standards. They've all been field tested extensively. They must be completed online. That's a key thing to know. So you can go online and try those, see how they work. The way you assign a screener is to create an individual success plan for each kid. So if you're doing a summer program, a lot of times what teachers will do is create one of these electronic success plans for each kid. And then on the success plan, you can assign screeners to kids. Once you assign them, they'll automatically assign tutorials. The math tutorials, the reading and math tutorials, all begin with a pre-test. They have the instruction, then they end with a post-test. All of the tutorials are available in English and Spanish. All have been developed by master teachers, and they've all been field tested extensively, and they're all mapped to Common Core standards, as well as NCTM standards and National Reading Panel. There are online right now 413 online reading and math tutorials for instruction. It's over 15,000 pages of instruction. So you can use that however you want. You can also, if you want, assign those tutorials yourself. You don't have to just rely on the screeners. If you are doing a summer program and you're focusing on a certain thing, a certain specific aspect of reading and math, you can identify tutorials and just simply assign them. A lot of times, these are supplemental tools, so teachers will be teaching whatever it is they're going to teach towards those particular skills, and then assign tutorials to back them up. Sometimes for kids who are second language learners, they'll teach the concept in English and assign the same concept in Spanish in tutorial. So all of those are available for you to check out and see if they're useful to you. When kids take the tutorials, there's a pre-test, post-test, and all of the scores are recorded on the kids' success plans. So you can see, I just pulled this off a success plan. You can see where the kids have gained. And all the different individual skills. One last thing I want to mention is that we have redesigned the system within the last few years so that it will work very effectively using tablets and even smartphones. So that you can assign kids tutorials when you're ending summer school. If you want to assign each child a bunch of tutorials that they can use on the road when they leave, they can still access those tutorials using a smartphone. And it works very well as the screeners. They can do screeners and tutorials on a smartphone. That's it. I hope I didn't go over my time. This is
perfect, Bill. You did good.
Okay. The information's available. It'll be part of this recording, and anybody write down my number or my email address, and I will be glad to get back. If anybody's interested in this, let me know, and I'll be glad to provide any kind of support I can. Thanks. Let me stop sharing.
Can you go ahead and type your email address into the chat box just so that they have that
I sure can.
too? And now we will turn the time over to Yasmin.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yasmin Luna Lennon. I am currently working to promote one of those free resources that Jessica was talking about. So if you'll give me a moment, I'm going to go over it briefly. I will share at the end that I will be doing a full demonstration on how to use the resource at our Summer Recruitment Institute. So let me share my screen. So the Achievery is a free platform. It is something we've been promoting since January. I've spent a lot of time vetting it, going through it, and creating additional tools to make it easier to use and adaptable for different partners. However, I also want to talk about our connectivity lessons, and I'll show you what those are like. So again, I did create a QR code. I'm not going to give you all of the time to do this. And again, these will be shared by Jessica. So these are PowerPoints that you can then use if you are going to create an account, if you're going to share this with parents and students. So because this is a grant partnership with IDEA and AT&T, We do have our own UTM, so you can see that it is the Achievery, and then at the end it has Farm Worker. So keep that in mind, and I will share why. So as part of our promotion, we've created additional fun things to kind of make it easier to search through the whole website. And for any of the additional tools that I'm going to share, I will put my email in at the end. So if you want access to those, please email me and I will get you access to them. It is available in both English and Spanish. So that's one of the really nice things about the Achievery. So basically our goals for this is I want you to understand what it is, how to find a lesson, and then how to create a lesson that works for you. So what is the Achievery? It is, if you know what a learning management system is, that is not what it is. You are not tracking students' work. You won't know what they're doing. It is a free learning platform. So AT&T has many collaborators, and they've come together to create wonderful units and full lesson plans that tutors, teachers, parents, individual students can look through, and learn and grow as they're going through those units. They can, however, be added to a learning management system, and I will briefly share how we've been able to do that. The other thing is, if you're familiar with project-based versus performance-based, this is not entirely project-based. It is what you would call performance-based because it is driven by an open-ended question. A lot of the units, will start out with, what do you think about this? Or, trying to get the student, the parent, the group of students to get a discussion going. So the really nice thing about every single one of these units is that they're supported by the knowledge, and students are going to be sharing and demonstrating those skills. So now what I want to go into is I'm going to give you an overview of what it looks like and how you can search within the Achievery, and then I'm going to share a tool that I have created to help you with that. So if you hit that QR code, just so you know, if you were logging out, you would sign up here on the top. So because I already have my account and I use Google, I can just sign in. And so searching within the Achievery is pretty easy. If you go to all units up at the top, you have the search title bar up here. So you can search through title. You can search by grade level, and this is K through 12. So you can, if you wanted things that were 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and you click save, it would give you all units that are 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. If you wanted to go deeper, you can search through the category. Let's say you wanted just ELA 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, then boom, it gives you all of those as well. So remember, I mentioned there's a list of collaborators. You can search by collaborator. You can also search by Common Core standards, the National Science Standards, and the CASEL standards, because there are a lot of units that focus on social emotional learning. So that's one way to search through the Achievery. The additional way of searching through the Achievery, and for you to get access to this, again, you would need to email me, is because I spent the month of January vetting this program and platform, I did create a whole master. So it's a whole spreadsheet. You would be able to have access, get a copy of this for yourself. And it goes more in depth into what those units are. Each of those units always have a summary about what the lesson is that's on there. It tells you, what it was focused on, and then the direct link. So you could always click on the link and go directly to that unit. So the other thing I want you to kind of notice is when you see the units, it's a little thumbnail. There's typically a video that goes with it, and then the lesson plan to download is down here. To get it in Spanish, up here on the top, you would go to ES. Unfortunately, it looks like this one is not available in Spanish. So one of the things we could do is in Spanish, just go to Las Unidades, and you can search that way, and it'll definitely give you all of the Spanish ones. But again, another way to search using the tool that I've created is just going, hey, what's in Spanish? What is available in Spanish subtitles? So again, it's a little bit easier to search through that tool. And then the other thing I want to talk about is using those unit lessons and then creating something that works for your students. So the really nice thing is that we have those resources available, and then I'm going to give you a brief overview of what the tools look like. So those tools, when we say kind of the resources coming together, I'm talking about all of those student learning portal links and those free resources that Jessica was talking about. So if you were to click and go to those resources and go to our connectivity lessons, then what we've done is we've combined Achievery units with different videos, different additional lesson plans, and we've kind of put them all in one to create pretty much a lesson plan that you can follow. And we've also added additional ways for you to be able to extend it or truncate it, anything you want. And so these are instructional resources. It gives you the title, it tells you what grades it's for. So if we were to go into, I believe the one I was going to share was the Netiquette Being Kind Online. We give you a nice little synopsis of what this is about. But if you were to click on it, it takes you right to that PDF. And again, the reminder of, don't forget to create your Achievery account through our links. It gives you an objective, a grade span with tips and resources to modify. So that's one of the really nice things is even though, it says K through 3 and 6 through 12, we make sure that there are ways that you can differentiate their learning this way. And then you have the links to go to an Achievery unit. There you can watch and listen. So there are YouTube videos, TED Talks, any of those other resources, again, that you would find in the student learning portal. So again, this is another one of those wonderful resources that we would want you to, have access. And the reason this was created is because we recognize not everybody has the time to create this. So it's kind of nice to just have it, out there written for you, just like the lesson plans in the Achievery. So this is, again, one of those additional resources. And occasionally it will also have that, include that English in Minutes, again, that student learning portal. So that's why we kind of say, all those resources coming together for you to watch. So Netiquette was the one that I just showed you. It gives you that objective, that grade span, and the subjects that it covers. Again, very interdisciplinary. And this is just looking deeper into and giving you the full detailed instructions on the lesson introduction and what you're going to do. So bringing that back to the Achievery, this is one of the examples that we have that basically I took the Achievery lesson. This one is called Discovering Your True Self. And if we were to click on it, you have about the lesson, Discovering with Wonder Woman. And then this one has 3 units. So basically what this means is that these are essentially 3 stackable units. You can have them individually, you can do them all together. And then when you download the lesson plan, it lays everything out for you. So it has, again, the standards. This one happens to have both CASEL and Common Core standards. And then it walks you through what to do for this lesson. So again, before showing the clip, what do you say? And remember, we were talking about that performance-based. So the essential question for this unit asks us to consider what makes us who we are. And so the guiding question is, by expressing our true selves, how can we promote that well-being of others? So this literally walks you through everything. Again, you have those vocabulary words. And this one is also available in Spanish. And so what we've done is we've taken those lessons and then we've turned them into Google Classroom lessons. So this one would show you the materials. It would show you, a vocabulary pre and post quiz. So you can measure, how much of that vocabulary they've been able to take in. It has the assignments on there. So those are just examples of how you can take that Achievery lesson and then input it into your own learning management system. This one just happens to be Google Classroom, but you can use Schoology. I believe there's Odyssey-ware, there's a couple of different other ones that I know some teachers have mentioned they've used. So it's really nice to be able to just kind of incorporate that into your summer programming. This is another one. This was a math one that we took. So again, it would list the material, takes the students to the videos, and then you have a pre and post quiz on, you know, what are these types of angles. And I believe this one was for grade 4. So it's really nice to be introducing those geometry principles that early on in stage. And the really nice thing about the Achievery is, you know, when you're figuring out and assessing where your student is, just because they're in grade 8 doesn't necessarily mean that they're at that level. So, you know, you're able to figure out, hey, maybe I can, you know, bring some other concepts, or if they need a better foundation on something, especially if you're working and tutoring with them, then this is a really good platform to use. So that was just my brief overview. Here is my contact information. I'll leave that up, but I will also put it in the chat. So again, if you want access to any of those Google Classrooms, if you want access to the spreadsheet for the master content, please reach out and let me know.
Okay, so if you want to put, someone just said my links did not work. Hopefully they should work. You can check those. If not, I'll double check them. So we are now going to turn the time over to Tracy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Kalick. I'm the director of ISOC. So let me get us started. Thanks for having me. Very happy to be here today. But first of all, I need to let you know, tomorrow, and Jessica, Susanna sent you an email if you want to send it out to everybody, inviting people to attend a webinar on our latest short, targeted, and timely lessons on disaster preparedness. And I'm going to go through a little bit today, but not everything. And I'm not going to go into great depth because of time constraints, but I wanted to share a few things with you. So the webinar tomorrow, as I said, will really dig into the lesson plan. All of our lessons are in English and Spanish. I'm not going to share every slide, but you will have access to these slides. And then if you're able to attend the webinar tomorrow, which is at 10 a.m. Central, you'll get into much more depth with how to use the materials, how to interact with them, how to modify them based upon time and student needs. So we are ISOC, Innovative Strategies for Out of School and Secondary Youth. These are our 18 member states, and Kansas is our lead state. So if you have not used our short, targeted, and timely lesson, or STAT, as we like to refer to them, please note these were designed based upon service provider and recruiter requests on student and based on state and student requests. So essentially we were tasked with designing some lessons that could be delivered in a short amount of time, that could be delivered with fidelity, but varying the time, the amount, and having a little bit more flexibility with the lesson design. So hence short, targeted, and timely was born. They're practical and relevant to the needs and interests of out-of-school youth, but they're not designed just for out-of-school youth. So they're a perfect addition to your summer programs or summer services. They're designed to be delivered in 40 in total. So that's using the interactive lesson plan from start to finish in 45 to 60 minutes. As I said, we also designed them to be extremely interactive, and we'll get into that in the webinar tomorrow, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. And it's really adaptable to setting, whether you're in a classroom or in the field. And also thinking about based upon working with one student, small groups, or large groups. So they all have a standardized format, a detailed lesson plan with integrated links. And what we do is we focused very specifically on targeted vocabulary and phrases and comprehension. There are interactive activities like Quizlet, Edpuzzle, and there's some really fun things going on with Quizlet right now that I'll share in a few minutes. If your student has connectivity issues, you can print the worksheets and go through the lesson in that way. We have embedded videos and, as always, pre and post assessments. Before I dig into our disaster preparedness lessons, I just wanted to let you know that if you go to osymigrant.org and you look under stat lessons, you will see we have 2 brand new lessons that unfortunately I won't be able to dig into today, but it's the second lesson on the dairy farm, and that's looking at dairy farm equipment, and the companion piece to the convenience store stat lesson, which is at the gas station. And within that, you'll see consistently, we have matching games, we have flashcards, we have Q chat, which I'll talk a little bit about for all of the lessons. We also have ways to enhance and look at utilizing photo prompts, descriptions, looking at vocabulary words more in depth based upon images. And you'll just see that particularly the convenience store, we know this is a continuation of, the gas station lesson. This is a continuation of the convenience store lesson. And we know that for many OSY, this is where they shop. And it's really important to help them understand how to work through the process, how to utilize the convenience store, the gas station, how to pay, etc. So you can check out those lessons. But I want to talk about disaster preparedness. And at any point, Jessica, if there are questions in the chat, just stop me
Will
if
do.
you don't mind. So, disaster preparedness. The last few weeks now, I live near Kansas City. And the last few weeks, like many places around the country, we have had tornado warnings going off in the middle of the night. Some really, really frightening weather. And I like to think I was disaster prepared, but I truly wasn't at 11:30 2 weeks ago when the sirens went off and it woke us up. So thinking about what our students need, particularly our out-of-school youth who may not have the support system and support structure in place, these lessons are going to prove invaluable. So the content, this is important to note, this was not something we dreamed up or felt it was important to include information. Instead, all of the content and many of the icons are derived from FEMA, the American Red Cross, the CDC, and the National Weather Service materials. We want folks to begin with the disaster preparedness lesson, which covers the basic steps in being prepared. And then the design is to extend learning with the targeted emergency disaster lessons, depending upon student interest and needs, and of course, geographic areas. So thinking about, as you can see on this slide, we start with the overview, the basic steps, how to develop a communication plan, and how to develop an emergency supply kit. And then we move into our targeted lessons. Now, I would hope that being in the middle of the country, I wouldn't need to do a targeted lesson on hurricanes, but definitely tornadoes, floods, and wildfires, which are becoming more and more prevalent. So thinking about how you can use these lessons. Once you familiarize yourself with the overview, then you could easily go into a targeted lesson followed up based upon student needs. And you could see in this slide that the objectives include what students will be able to will know and be able to do. So using vocabulary and phrases related to disaster preparedness, creating an emergency communication plan, and creating an emergency supply kit. And then we have our targeted lesson objectives as well. If I were to include the entire, so you're getting just a small sample of the lesson plan itself, where you can click on these links, which will take you directly to, for example, our vocabulary and image guide, our vocabulary practice worksheet and answer key, and then going into that emergency communication plan, which is so critical, and the emergency supply checklist. You'll see the targeted lessons will include all of these similar activities, except they will include targeted specific information sheets based upon if it's flood, wildfire, tornado, etc. All of the lessons contain pre and post assessments as well. And then so there you could actually see the lesson plan. And what we've done is we have really tried to encourage connectivity between our disaster preparedness lesson, the main lesson and the overview, to our targeted disaster lessons. So you can connect them through the lesson plan there, or you can go into the targeted lessons and remind yourself, okay, it's recommended that this lesson be preceded by the disaster preparedness lessons and what needs to happen there in terms of materials. So just giving you some examples of what we've done is The guides, the vocabulary, they include a pronunciation guide and photos as well, and this is in English and Spanish. I'm not going to have time to go through some of these videos, but if you can attend the webinar tomorrow, you'll definitely get to hear all about and see the videos and then get into more of the targeted phrases. So you can see when you get into the stat lessons themselves. So then we have targeted phrases. So helping students understand why it's important to take pictures of those critical documents, putting together the emergency supply kit. There's the communication plan, and then digging into more vocabulary. So we have targeted terms and then basic steps as prep steps as well. So making sure students really understand. And this is going to be an ideal opportunity for assistance in how do you actually develop an emergency supply kit? So if these are the recommended items, where can you get them? How can you supply them, etc. So I did,
In this short video,
We-
we will discuss
we'll keep going from there. So that's really about how to dig in and what those targeted vocabulary pieces look like. But we also, I did want to mention the importance of utilizing the pre and post assessment materials. One, it's critical to really help students access prior knowledge. And also, so you know exactly what components to teach or reteach. So thinking about where you are in terms, where the student is in terms of pre-assessment and then post-assessment, that checking for understanding. Do I need to go back and reteach any concepts? Did the student master the concepts within? And then digging into some of the targeted disaster lessons, they include fact and safety sheets. So how to prepare for the emergency, how to take action, and what's really critical, how to stay safe. They contain interactive virtual activities, flashcards, matching games, Q Chat, which is really fun. It is, it's Quizlet's version of AI. And so all the stat lessons have an engaging and interactive components via Quizlet, Edpuzzle, and then the games themselves, which students really enjoy because they become quite competitive in their timed games. But what's really cool with QChat, and you'll see this tomorrow, is that students can interact directly with content, and this can be in English or Spanish. And it's very interesting that, you know, a student can ask QChat a question, and the AI responds with the answer in Spanish or English. You can choose the story format, which is a story about a paragraph in length. The student reads the story, and then they have to respond to some questions. It's a really wonderful opportunity to engage students in a different way. The other thing I wanted to show you before we get into, sorry, let me keep going. I just wanted to talk about enhancements briefly. And this is what was done in Kansas. And I'm just going to share with you just a few moments of this. Kansas took the lead in developing and going to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in Wichita, Kansas, their regional office, to talk about and show some video on what does a meteorologist do and how do they keep us safe. So I'll let you see that and let me know if you can't hear.
Hi there. Do you know what a meteorologist is? A meteorologist is a scientist who studies the weather. They help us understand what kind of weather to expect and how to prepare for it. Meteorologists play a really important role in our community because they help keep us safe during different weather conditions. For example, if a big storm is coming, meteorologists will tell us about it and let us know if we need to stay inside or take other precautions to stay safe. They also help us plan our day. You know how your mom or dad might check the weather before you go to school? Well, they get that information from meteorologists who can tell us if it's going to rain or be sunny. So
You get the general idea. Again, I'm trying to stay within my time limits.
You're good. You're good, Tracy.
Oh,
If you
okay.
wanna, you're good.
Just fast forward a little.
weather conditions. Meteorologists will tell us about it and let us know if we need to stay inside or take other precautions to stay safe. They also help us plan our day. You know how your mom or dad might check the weather before you go to school? Well, they get that information from meteorologists who can tell us if it's going to rain or be sunny. So meteorologists are like weather detectives who help us know what to expect and how to stay safe and prepare for any kind of weather.
We got our river system here. And down is under the skiing because there was so much rainfall and the ground would only hold so much water at a given point.
Just some ideas to enhance the lessons. Some other fun things that service providers are doing is planning to use the obviously disaster preparedness lesson first, followed up with the tornado targeted lesson, and then doing a science experiment on building a tornado in a bottle. So. So thank you for allowing me to share a few pieces with you and our exciting new lessons. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Jessica.
Okay, so we have, thank you all three of you guys. We have a little bit, some time for questions. We were all trying to make sure that we could get, so I don't know if if you guys want to also, yeah, come on video, and then group, if you guys want to ask any questions, we'll pay attention to the chat box. And so is there anything in there about earthquakes?
No, I think that's a great idea and we will start working on that one. No, that's very critical as well. But we wanted to start with, as I said, just 4 of these major events that impact the majority of us around the country. But earthquakes would definitely be a needed targeted lesson. So thank you for that suggestion.
Lots of them in Alaska. Wow, I wouldn't even think that would be a place that would have tons of them. So yeah.
Great. That is really good to know. Thank you.
Other questions you guys have, because we can always share a little bit more about anything that's, upcoming. I know that we did put the registration link for Tracy's for tomorrow, so if we can drop that in again. And then if nobody has questions, Bill or Tracy or Yasmin, if you have something that you want to share, anything else that's kind of upcoming, feel free to share any of that also. You guys always have questions and you're like, make sure to leave time for questions. So now's a chance to ask anything.
Jessica, we could put the link for the Summer Recruitment Institute
Yes.
on there.
Idea.
I will be going in depth in how to create those lesson plans for using the Achievery, using Google Classroom. So, how to pull the elements out to create those.
Yes, and then one thing, I guess we can talk a little bit too about the summer reading contest. So that's a partnership, and anyone can do those. So Tracy, if you have OSY, if anyone wants to do it. So basically it's just getting them to read as many and listen to as many books as they can. Bill, if you know anybody that's doing your reading tutorials and would want to, use that in any way, the cool thing is if they use any of the Achievery videos in that, in any of their instruction, they also can participate in that. So it's a cool thing that it can really kind of go across to any area. There's a comment that there's great resources that I'll make sure to share with our summer programming staff. The contest will be great for kids. Thank you, Angela. So it's cool to see so many different things that really, really are in depth. There's no reason why we all can't up our game on the services that we're providing in summer, because it seems like everybody's really taken some good thought into trying to provide some good resources.
I was
Jessica-
going to, sorry. I was going to say, if you are not receiving information from iSoci, if you go to our website, the first thing you see will be a pop-up box. Just enter your email and that will connect you to the latest and greatest resources, webinars, our professional learning, monthly resources that go out. So please just let me know, or you can send me an email. I will put my email in the chat.
I need to find the link for your webinar again. I put it on earlier. Somebody just asked for it, so I'll make sure I can find that. Well, I tell you what, I'll just put the iSoci page because then they can just go there and get anything that you guys send.
Awesome. That would be great.
And Jessica, can you remind me, what's the time frame for this? When is the end date for the summer reading challenge?
So it'll go all summer, so it should be able to probably the end of August.
Okay.
So it can pretty much go through the whole thing. So, well, it looks like we just did
Awesome.
such a great job. You don't have any questions, so that's good. We were all trying to leave that time in there.
And there was pressure.
I know. I was like, well, they always have lots of questions. So, well, if you guys don't, we'll stay on for a minute or two. If not, we'll give you 15 minutes back to your life. And I want to personally thank all three of you guys for joining and sharing. I think there's a lot of really good work done all over. And the more that we're all informed of different resources, the better it is for our kiddos. So
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. Oh, wait.
do you offer any training programs for children and youth to learn skills such as carpentry, gardening, and farming? Well, there's a ton of resources out there that exist for those kind of things. Do you guys either one of you guys, anybody have anything specific?
Not off the top of my head, no.
I'm gonna drop in a lesson into back from my past life when I was in Tennessee.
I usually do the Home Depot lessons. That's where we took our kid to learn how to use tools.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's right.
Here is a culinary unit. So if you ever want to do gardening and have kids create grow some of those things that they actually cook with, there's a little unit that you can use right there. So
I was
okay.
going to say 4-H has a lot too.
Yes, that's a really good. I'll see. if I
North
can-
Carolina created an entire sustainability summer program that they did on their Saturdays. I don't think they're on here, but Lucia, if you want to email me, I think I have a copy of that. It was created in North Carolina. And it's free for everybody. So that's another one of those free things. So even if there isn't anybody and you want to create that, it's already been created for you. So it's really nice to use.
Well, and I just Googled off Tracy's comment for the 4-H plants and gardening, and there's tons of lessons that comes up.
There's a lot there.
So, all right, well, we will send everybody a copy of the presentation today and the recording. And again, thank you guys for getting on here.
And please join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central.
Yes. So go to
Thanks,
iSoci's
everybody.
website and register for that. All right, you guys take care. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.